Okay, TikTok protocols. We share here. Away from Facebook and brings people here. Oh, Penny. Jen's power Jen.
No.
Oh, is it a cheetah and a lion? Oh, lions and cheetahs together. Oh my. Hi, everybody. I can't see you right now because I'm sharing the thing. Please stand by. Who did not I invite? By him, by them, those people. They're cool. No, not them. No, not them. Raven Crow, Yggdrasil, Silver Dragon. Who's left? Hello, crazy bug. Please don't climb on the camera part. That would be great. All right, inviting people. Gina, hello. Hello, whoever else is here. I couldn't see you because I was on the share screen. Gotta say, I was did my first live on Clapper today, and had a lot of viewers for only 125 followers, and it was so user friendly. I just click one button to send a notification to everybody that follows me, like that. Here I have to keep track because every time you invite 15 people, it resets, and you have to figure out which 15 people, because some of the people you already invited are in that list too. It sucks. So I've been getting set up on Clapper. I think that if TikTok gets banned, it's going to be a long ways away. But even without that, I'm enjoying Clapper. It's very enjoyable. It has all the things we want from TikTok and then the things we don't so far. So yeah, spending some time over there too. I did my first live over there for about an hour, and it went really well. I have more viewers by now over there than I have here. Sometimes I fill my bathtub with pizza sauce and pretend I'm a meatball. Right on. That's some deep thoughts, man. That's deep, man. Thanks for sharing. Says a lot. Hey, Wolf Moon, how are ya? Whoever that is saying hello, I can't see you. The homie Diamond, hi. Uncle Birch coming to you live from New Orleans, where it's lovely out. It's 84 degrees, I believe, last time I looked. A little bit of breeze and some cloud cover. It's just lovely, lovely. Hope it's lovely where you're at and winter is over and all that shit. It seems to not be for a lot of the country. And other countries too. It's 40. All right, that would, here in New Orleans, I would consider that fucking cold. I would be bundling up and shit. I would be thinking, do I need to bring the plants in? Austin, Ryan Clay, how are you? I just did my first live on Clapper. Went really well. I'm sorry, everything's going well on Clapper. There's everything I like about TikTok and none of the things I don't like. I'm still going to stay here till the bitter end, though. I'll probably, if they ban it, I got a VPN on my phone, so I'll say I'm in some country where it's not banned and troll around and see who's still here. The people with VPNs or the people in other countries where it's not banned will still be here. But that's about it. Atlanta.
My phone really wants to stay on 13.
Really?
Yep.
Your phone is so witchy.
I dropped it. I don't know where it went.
I think it's dust in the wind, baby. slide that thing over here out of the camera range. Raven Crow, how are thou? Hi, Uncle Birch and Aunt Marta. Hey, Lori, how are you?
Hey.
I've been spend some time over there at Clapper. I highly recommend it.
So it would be foolhardy to call it crapper?
Huh?
It would be foolhardy to call it crapper?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure their opponents call it that.
Yeah.
But it has. There's fewer viewers or fewer followers or users than on TikTok, but that's growing rapidly right now, and it basically has everything I like about TikTok and other shit I don't like. The trolls, no trolls. Community guidelines violations, no. I went live and it told me the community guidelines and made me agree to them. And the list was so long. It was don't nude, their words. Be 18 and over.
12.
Turn it off for a couple minutes. See if it charges while it's off. Definitely I can't violate the don't be or be 18 and over. I'm 18 and over many times over. So all I got to do is not nude, and those are the only community guidelines violations somebody can report me for on live, on Clapper. It's been great. I was free to say all of the forbidden words, and I feel myself becoming dumber. I have a train in my mind that is just stupid because it's been trained to say stupid words like a kindergartner, like pew pew sa, grape.
People asked. Somebody asked about your bush.
Yahtzee. Yeah. So that would probably be a community guidelines violation over here. There's so many, all of the forbidden words. I said them all several times. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So. Unfortunately, there's not a publicly tradable company at this time where I would suggest buying stock in Clapper. I used to rarely get sick, but then I went and got 6 tattoos in September, and now I'm sick. Well, that was at a, dirty tattoo shop. I would have to, yeah. Hey, Uncle Birch, Boss Tree Witch, how are you? I just came from doing my first live on Clapper, and it went really well. Matter of fact, I had more people there than I have here, yet I have 6,000 followers here, I think, and 125 followers there. So there's that. The followers I have over there, I know are actual followers. Their bots and troll protocol is extreme over there. Hey, Seraphima, I saw you there. Hey, Baby Doll, I saw you there. Boss Chewich, I think I already said hi. So I know the followers over there are real. It's like I never get excited. I've been up to double-digit thousands a few times. Have I seen a change in my traffic that reflects those numbers on TikTok? Fuck no. I'll see people with 100,000 followers, and I'll look at a video, they posted in the same amount of time as I posted a video, and they've only got, 1,000 more than me or something like that. It doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up. It is a drug that they feed you to make your endorphins flow, and they go, oh my God, people love me, I've got more followers, and people like me, people really, really like me. Yeah, at least half of those people aren't people. I've known that. I never get that excited now. Not feeling that way at Clapper. The amount of people I have over there makes sense that my account is 24 hours old. The people all seem to be engaged, and nobody's trolling. There's no fights. My account's like that, huge following, yet next to no views. Yeah, and then I think my 67,000 account, I went and did that creator fund. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. Everything like bombed after that. My views went down. It's like, they're gonna have to pay me now for a certain amount of views, well, of course, their algorithm's going to make me not have views, so they don't have to pay me. It makes sense in hindsight. But the TikTok ban, I don't think TikTok should be banned for what the government wants to ban it for. There does seem to be something about the algorithm that keeps all of our communities and sub-communities fighting with each other. It isn't that way everywhere on social media. Isn't that way on Clapper. It is that way on Facebook, and maybe to a degree, I haven't seen it on Instagram, but definitely TikTok. They make more money when we're pissed off. We're going to click on people's posts and type a bunch of stuff, which means we're going to play the video again. That makes them money. It could be a Chinese Communist Party plot to tear the country apart. Absolutely it could be. That evidence is large, but all the evidence of it being a spy thing, cannot access my Wi-Fi. I mean, that was the most ludicrous hearing I ever heard in my life. These fucking old farts that don't know how to operate a computer, don't know anything. Can you explain to me what an algorithm is?
They don't know how to operate the female reproductive system
I
either.
know. And they're going to legislate that. The funniest one, this Republican from the great state of Texas. I want you to tell me why when I turn on TikTok, all I see is gay people dancing around, drag queens, and fluffers. Tell me how an algorithm works. It's like, is anybody going to tell him?
He just outed himself.
It's because all of your other social media has told these companies what you're interested in. It's seen what corn you watch.
What corn you like to eat.
And what corn you like to do. It knows what you don't want it to know about you. So that's what shows up in your feed. I got on my other accounts where I don't, post much. Like I think the Feel Free, more battery?
Let's go at 19.
Yeah. My Feel Free 13 account where I don't post that much. I don't comment much. I don't interact that much. It knows that I want to see random hot girls. All right. What else? That's what it, and I don't know how the algorithm did that, because I haven't shown them any interest that I have in there. It could probably show hot guys too, and that might work on a certain day, but that's a whole other story. It just drives that to my feed because I've input nothing. It says, okay, everybody's gonna see random hot girls, so we're gonna put that in his feed over here. But to have the other stuff, the drag queens and the fluffers and the gay people dancing around half naked, that's pretty specific. Somewhere in your phone you searched those terms, you watched that porn, especially people from Republicans from the great state of Texas. We found out a long time ago that the majority of the gay porn watched in the United States is in red states.
Yep.
And it's crazy that they even had that statistical database to draw from, but
well, it's all the incels and stuff.
All the incels and the Republicans in the closet, the real groomers. Appreciate the fine things in life. It's beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Uncle Bert's coming to you live from New Orleans, and hey, still, I gotta say, an hour ago, this same time of day, on Clapper, I had more viewers on my live on an account with 125 followers. Now this account should be roughly close to 6,000 right now, last I checked. The math doesn't add up. But also, Clapper has this one-click button. Tell all your followers that you're live. Boop! That was easy. This one, you go through and you click on people, and the people you already clicked on are going to be, you get 15 at a time, and then you send them, and then you click on it again, and the people that you already sent a thing to are still in the list. So you had to keep track of who you already clicked on. But then you can click on them twice or something. They're going to think, God damn, dude, stop spamming me. There's now a bill in Canada called C11 that is aimed at content creation and online platforms. Ooh. That might be kind of interesting. I mean, the entire industry needs some regulation, but it's like, you know, how much are we going to have? You know, TikTok's got some stuff that's definitely got to be fixed, but I don't think it's any of the things that the Republicans or the Democrats brought up. I think, unfortunately, one of the things that TikTok really needs to fix, I looked this up to make sure that I wasn't talking out my ass, of all the social media platforms, big ones, TikTok's the only one that does not give to political campaigns. And matter of fact, banned political campaigns and political ads during the midterms and political fundraising on TikTok leading up to the midterms. Yeah, I remember getting all pissed off when we found out that Zuckerberg gave a certain amount of $1 billion to the Republican Party, but then we found out he gave the same amount to the Democratic Party. So they just, it's their protection money. It's a corporation. The government protects corporations. It doesn't protect the common person. And corporations have been deemed human. But the corporations get protection money because all the known corporations donate to political campaigns. It's their protection money to the mob. It's a mob scheme. Our government. What? 23% battery. All right, we've broken a threshold somehow.
That's what she said.
Monopoly is illegal, but it works like Monopoly and chess. Oh, well, and that's the other thing. You know, now you can look this up, okay? And I suggest you do. Google this, DuckDuckGo this, whatever you got to do. But look up the people in that room the other day grilling the CEO of TikTok, and how many of them bought stock in Meta before that. Specifically, I mean, there's many of them on there, Republicans and Democrats, but $100,000 from the dude that put the bill forward from Texas. I forget his name, but you'll look it up. It's easy to find. $100,000 worth of Meta stock before he filed the bill. Yeah. This is America. That's all it's been. The whole life. It's about rich and poor. Y'all are fighting about black and white, male and female, brown and Asian, all these things. You know why you're fighting about those things? They want you to. They want you to. It's always been the rich ruling the poor in various levels of poor, from indentured servitude to peasants to slaves. It's always been one form of slavery or another in this country and the countries that we came from. It's always been that way. It's still that way. It's divide and conquer, absolutely. They keep us fighting over these breadcrumbs as if all of these other poor, people are taking their breadcrumbs or standing in the way of them getting their breadcrumbs, while the rich fat man's sitting on the cake or sitting on the loaf of bread. It's always been about rich and poor, and since the rich controlled the narrative, they keep us squabbling amongst ourselves. We have more in common than they want us to realize. Unity over ego is the only way. Absolutely, and especially in witchcraft, in magic. Every form of magic, maybe with the exception of ceremonial magic, is born from oppression and downright slavery. a way to get justice in a system that's built for you never to have justice based on your or your position within the class. And I'm sure there's a lot of ceremonial magic that was that way too, but then there are some of the roots of ceremonial magic where people working for kings and queens and shit. So they were, you know, paid rather than oppressed. But it's all coming from that. All folk magic, all witchcraft, all hoodoo, all of it comes from the same dichotomy. And we're too busy fighting over whose style is what and who gets to use what. Who gives a fuck? It's the same man hanging over our heads. And it ain't about his skin color. It's about green. Or actually now it's about, you know, gold and platinum and silver cards, because we don't actually carry cash anymore. It's about gold. I'm sure they're all stashing gold away too.
Dogs. It's about dogs.
It's about dogs. They're buying up all the dogs. Definitely not ceremonial magic. It was made to be hard for poor to access. So there's that. There's that. Most forms of folk magic you can just do out of your kitchen without buying anything special. That's why it's folk magic. Witchcraft got a little more complicated because, you know, they knew a lot about plants and shit. But absolutely, yeah, it's they don't have a version of ceremonial magic for the less fortunate. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of specifics that you have to do a certain way, or it's just not going to be right. So that's an excellent point, actually. If anybody wants to come on screen, come on screen. Hey, we got Zephyr Green and we got Seraphima. They tend to butt heads over some issues. They'd be fun to have on together. Thank you for continually liking. Everybody, we found in our research over here at Let's Talk Witchtok that if the viewers constantly like the broadcast by tapping the screen, well, the haters cannot take it down. And we have tested that. We have incurred massive amounts of hate, massive amounts of reporting on this live, and we're going on 2 weeks now of close to everyday broadcasting. And I'm convinced that that has fucked with the algorithm and kept us up. I'm a Christian who intends to challenge the Christian God when I show up there. All right, wait, hold on. I like you. Where are you? That's worth a follow right there. Even if you're totally boring after that, just that one thing is good enough for an entire relationship. I love it.
Huh. I just heard that Fox isn't covering the Waco rally.
Fox isn't covering the Waco rally.
Somebody said it. I don't know. I didn't check, but somebody said they're not covering it.
See if you can confirm that. That'd be interesting. I mean, they probably aren't. I think they haven't covered the last
Murdoch,
several rallies.
you know, can't stand him.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Attitude Caffeinated, how are you?
Attitude Caffeinated.
My beliefs turn out to truly see a red mark when you get there. I'll be in the Summerland. Be in the happy hunting ground, chilling in a meadow.
With your wifey.
Yep. And all of the animals.
Because you decided you need to be stuck with me. So
all of the fucking animals that have gone before. Oh my God, it's going to be nuts. And they're all going to be excited, you know. Hundreds of dogs and cats all piling on. Attitude Caffeinated said, hey, Marta. Tell me about the Summerland. It sounds great. I think I was. The happy hunting ground. The original heaven, the original idea of heaven on earth comes from the Sumerians. The land of Sumer was the Summerland. And it was the happy hunting ground where everything is plentiful and all of the plants are providing food. And then I lumped in the belief of you know, animal heaven into the Summerland, because I would think, you know, that's where we would be reunited with our pets and stuff. But I did just kind of, conflate them, and I'm hoping that's true.
So this says, another newspaper says that Fox News is cutting back on Trump rally coverage.
Cutting back.
But I don't know if they're covering this one.
So then who's covering it? Newsmax?
Well, the usuals, yeah.
The My Pillow Network, whatever that's called.
Frank's Speech?
Is it Frank's Speech? Is that his network? Because doesn't he have like a TV thing too? Or is
Frank's
that on
Speech
Frank's Speech?
Posts a lot of, like, wannabe news stuff. So I think it's, not like I ever bothered to check.
Yeah.
But they probably,
Yeah, so there's fake Newsmax, and then OAN maybe. Both of those, aren't on a lot of cable systems now.
The one that got dumped by DirecTV?
I think both did.
Whichever
actually,
one.
Yeah.
This story says that DirecTV let him back on, and he's got access to... Trump gains access to millions of cable viewers ahead of rally. Newsmax announced its programming would come back to DirecTV.
Why? I'm sure their ratings didn't go up.
I don't know.
Oh, man. I liked that they had the balls to do that.
Yeah.
If you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. Denzel. Yeah, well, we have time-honored Pulitzer Prize winning journalism in this country that has always been respected. And there are certain regulations about disinformation in those.
I'm pretty well informed.
Yeah.
Of what makes a legitimate source.
Yeah. In the print media and the broadcast media in this country, there's certain things that I'm no fan of the FCC, but they will get involved in outright disinformation being broadcast on the American airwaves. CNN is not a broadcast network, and neither is Fox News. They're a cable network. Different rules apply, which are pretty much none. So Fox can absolutely spew disinformation all day, fucking every day. And there's nothing. And likewise, so is Newsmax. Newsmax is a cable network. So is OAN. They're not news networks, and they've never won a fucking prize, except maybe, some MAGA prize or something like that. But yeah, Marta's a journalist from way back. It's like, I'm going Reuters, man.
You always ask me, is this legit? Is this legit? And I always say
if I don't know,
no.
I'm going to ask her. But, Reuters, Associated Press, I'm going with them. News Nation is also, I think they're more of a cable thing, but I have watched a lot of stuff there, and they're really trying to stay right
in the
try
to be
middle.
What's it called?
Yeah.
Objective.
Yeah. Learning body language and micro expressions helps. Yes, well, of course, as a former cop, I was trained in all of that stuff. And then, all that study of psychology all those years, more interested in all of that. I'm seeing videos you've had. You will not ascend, may not be the time. Ash, just let me. What? Please learn
English.
Please English. Thank you.
I had to learn it. You can learn it too.
Former law enforcement too. Couldn't be a hypocrite anymore. Oh, absolutely. I stopped my sergeant from beating a man that was already in handcuffs, a Latino man, of course, and turned him in, and still made it through another year of the job before I just, my life had been threatened too many times to stay there, and nothing happened to my sergeant. He was my sergeant the next day after I broke the code of silence, because the watch commander that I had to turn him into was his golf buddy from all the way back to the 60s. Yeah, I was the mythical good cop, and because I was only there for 3 years.
And that's why.
And that's the cutoff. It's like I saw plenty of good rookies with good ideals and treating people right, and then after a couple years, they become one with the board.
Or they leave.
Or they leave, or they commit oral sex on their service revolver. Yeah. So, that kind of thing. Five, yeah, five's tough. I couldn't make it through five. When that last year of having my sergeant still be in charge of me on the graveyard shift in the port of Long Beach, the best place to ditch a body. And every hot call routed to my screen, my backup called off constantly. Luckily, I had good friends, and one of my old partners would come back me up anyways, and just say he was somewhere else. It started to break me. I tried to hang on for close to a year after turning the man who was responsible for my life in for beating somebody in handcuffs. Nothing happened to him. So while y'all wish you'd see, the mythical good cop do the right thing, doesn't always mean a goddamn thing. And if y'all think the police are corrupt and the system's bad, you don't know shit. I'll tell you, it's worse than you think. Christine's here. Hey.
Miss Christine?
Yep.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Christine.
Hey, I don't have my
Hey.
volume up. There we go. Volume up. Hey,
How are you, Mr. and Mrs. Birch?
Hi.
great, lovely day in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, you missed my live this morning.
Yeah, I got a notification it was already gone.
Yeah. This bastard won't stop, y'all.
Uh,
Mhm.
Death threats now.
Death threats from,
From
he who
him.
shall not be named.
was it he or she who shall not be named? There's several of the not be named. Which one?
From him. But I heard it through another source that wants to, afraid of retaliation, so they don't want to, they don't want me to say their name. Actually, two people heard it. It was on a phone conversation.
Well, after having the police at your house for a civil standby involving the same people involved, if something was to happen to one of the people involved, even the worst law enforcement agency in the world, red flags and bells would go off. It was like, well, wait a minute. We were just out there for a civil standby for that dude to get his shit. And then now something happened to the person that he got his shit from. Oh, bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
I mean, they miss it stuff sometimes, but
Yeah.
that would be a very bad time. If you ever wanted to do something like that, you do something like that before you get the law enforcement involved, because then they've got
Exactly.
records. But nah, too late now.
Exactly. Right? So I'm
Well,
like, you know what? I'm not scared. I'm not worried.
ah, it's so far a bunch of fucking hot wind.
Yeah, because he said that's the only way to shut me up, and then he's
how's,
gonna make sure it's gonna happen. Come
how's
on,
that working?
bring it on.
How's that working out? Here, are you shutting up? You just went
Nope,
live. I don't think you're shutting up.
nope, nope. So
All
yeah,
right. Trying the same thing the same way over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity.
yeah,
So clearly, you have not been shown to be the type of person to shut up about stuff like that. So
nope.
uh, needs to develop some new strategies. But I'm glad he hasn't.
Right. He don't have the power.
Yeah,
He don't have shit. He don't have a backbone. He don't have the balls to do anything.
they created an army of witches for us. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, if he needed police to go to his house,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he had the police go to his house to cover his ass so everything would be documented. But unfortunately, the thing that has been documented is that there's a stressful situation at this property about a pending divorce,
Yeah.
and that they had to come out. So that's not going to weigh in his favor if anything happens.
Right. Exactly. Like
And
I said.
and
Hey.
clearly the police in your area have a lot more free time than ours. Maybe those are state police. I don't know.
No, Paris.
Okay.
Because I live outside the city limits, so it's a sheriff's department.
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
sheriffs. Yeah, sheriffs
Yeah.
are a whole other animal too.
Yeah. Yo.
Here, I have not seen anybody pulled over here in years. I
Really?
believe it's a policy measure now. Unless there's
Okay.
like a serious crime issue going on, or
Yeah.
they won't. And they won't chase you unless it's like an armed felony or something like that. They have a policy for that, uh,
Yeah.
which they get plenty of that, I'm sure. But they just don't randomly pull people over for traffic violations, which is
Right.
good because nobody here uses a turn signal for a damn thing.
Yes, indeed. Dude, here, that's
Which,
not gonna be anything. They got time on their hands here.
oh, I was just about to say, Witchfoot's here. I should bring her on, and she already asked. Hey,
Hello.
Hey,
what's
beautiful.
what's happening? We all have our
Hello.
teeth in. Yes,
I
yes.
got my teeth in. I washed my hair yesterday. I took a bath.
Yeah, you look like you got your hairs did and everything. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm
Yeah.
actually coming on here with clothes on.
Me too.
I
Me too.
know.
Well, I just came from Clapper, and that's one of the only community guidelines violations for live. It just says don't nude and be over 18 years old.
Oh,
But
we have totally flashed on Clapper. Just FYI. So
oh, okay.
there must be a timestamp because we have absolutely walked past the screen butt ass naked just to see what would happen. And Philip did too. So I know it's both anatomies there.
Yeah,
Sure did.
Yeah.
it seems to be harder for people to mass report you there, so that's good. But I did a live there. It's as good as the live here, and I have way more followers here. Um, but I had about the same amount of people, and I got like 125 followers. I just joined like yesterday.
That's not yet.
Yeah.
Um, but it makes sense. The math on TikTok never adds up. It's like I see people with 100,000 followers getting not that many more views than I get on a thing in the same amount of time. Or if they go
Yeah.
live, they don't have that many people in there. So I don't even
Oh
know
yeah.
if
I got
half
like
these.
I got 2,000 followers, I think, and I might have, or used to be five in the box, in the live. Maybe it's 10 or 12 now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. I think there's a lot of bots. A lot
Yeah.
of bots. I don't get
Hey,
excited when my numbers suddenly go up. It's like, yeah, how many of those are real?
yeah.
How many of
Well,
those will actually interact with the content?
yeah.
Well, we all know that I didn't start out getting numbers. I don't care if they're there or not.
Right.
That's like 4 years of getting yeeted over and over again.
Yeah. How many accounts have you lost?
This is my seventh account.
Seventh. You beat me.
Wow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
This is my second one. I
I
just,
tried hard, man. Damn, you beat me. Of course, you've
I've
been here
got-
longer than me too, so maybe I'll,
yeah.
I'll catch up. I'll catch up.
Well, I've gotten smarter at getting my point across or insulting someone without violating guidelines. So that's all I did.
Yeah,
me too.
That's
yeah,
the only thing I did was I got a little bit smarter each time on how to.
yeah.
How to word things, yes.
When I was on, I did my live on Clapper. It's like, wow, you know what? I'm able to say the 10 dirty words that you can't say over here. I was
Yeah,
saying them all.
I've been on
Yes.
class. I don't think uh TikTok's going anywhere, but I think Clapper's a good alternative to people that TikTok targets.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like there's no reason that your amount of followers should be as low as it is.
Huh. It's
I remember your first account, the one that had a lot.
yeah,
But if TikTok was to go anywhere, which I don't think it will now that it's separated, I have been steady building up my YouTube for 3 years, and I have managed to get. I didn't even look at the number until the other day. I've managed to get 25K over there. Like I was like,
Oh,
what?
on Clapper, right on.
YouTube.
No,
Oh, on
YouTube.
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 Yeah,
So I
see,
do a
I've
lot of
been
times
on
I do
YouTube
my
for God.
live.
I've been on YouTube for 15 years, but for 10 of those years, the account was Freakphil1309. It said nothing about witchcraft or anything of the kind. It was like really hard to find because it was weird. 15 years ago, teaching witchcraft on the internet was a weird thing to do and totally not authorized in my tradition or
No,
anybody's. Um, so I made it hard to find. And then I think about 5 years ago, I just changed it to Uncle Birch. And I think I'm
yeah.
still under 10K. I'm just hanging there.
I just Oh, you've seen my shit. I just temporarily pump out a YouTube video.
Mm.
And I keep an archive over there, but I had no idea that many people had went over there. I was like, oh, now I can't monetize it because I'm not going to go through all those effing videos
Yeah,
and take the music off of it. That's not going to
yeah.
happen.
I was monetized briefly a long time ago, but the system was new, and it's like somebody like clicked on an ad a bunch of times, and it wasn't me, but it violated their terms of service. And AdSense, if there's ever a violation, you can't ever get past it. I've filed an appeal every 6 months for 10 years, and they just no change. So I make money off of it other ways, but monetize for commercials just never
Yeah,
happened.
monetize. I don't even bother. I don't even apply.
Yeah.
Oh hell!
Breeze here.
Hey
Yeah,
guys,
A bunch of them
what's
WitchCon with you.
happening?
Not much. Where are you walking? Where are you?
I'm in
Hello.
Casadega, Florida.
Is that your deck?
It's got more psychics and mediums per capita.
Is that your
My
deck?
what?
Your deck you're walking on?
What do you say?
Porch, deck? What do you
No,
call it?
I'm in Casadega, Florida.
oh, she's
Oh,
at
you're like
somewhere
a
else.
hotel
Yeah,
or something. Ah, okay.
Did you see
yeah.
my Did you see my
It's got a bunch.
Witchcom video where I'm complaining about the fact that I'm at the bottom because I don't care about
Yes.
alphabetical order?
Yeah, that was funny.
It's in alphabetical order,
Yeah, I
ma'am.
don't care.
I saw that.
I don't care if it's in alphabetical order. I'm sorry.
Did you also notice that you're the only one that goes by your brand
Yeah.
name and everybody else had to go by their damn
Uh-huh.
real name?
Well,
I
that's
bet he
So,
didn't give you shit.
ma'am,
He gave
well,
us all shit about our brand names.
no, because when I filled it out, your little form,
Mm,
it says which put because if I put Jennifer Sands up there, nobody's going to come. So he
yeah.
won. Yeah, I didn't understand why yours didn't say Uncle Birch. Like I even
Yeah.
realized I could do that with Amazon
Mm,
and I was like, I wrote because at first they wouldn't release my book or my pen. I said, no, 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 no. My pen name is trademarked. You have to use it.
yeah.
So if you trademark those as your pen names, they have to use it legally.
Mm,
So that's why it's not special treatment. It's a registered trademark pen name. Just FYI for anybody
well,
wondering.
normally,
it's called Christian Day. That's what it's
yeah.
called.
Normally, I tell people if Christian Day gives you business advice, absolutely follow it because he's always fucking right. But
Oh, I didn't get that
It's
from
he,
Christian
annoying,
Day.
isn't it?
but he's been wanting me to ditch Uncle Birch for a long time. I'm going, dude,
No,
Google it.
don't.
Google it. Yeah, you will find Michael Carell too because I've had to do stuff under that name. Like I'll do Michael Carell, aka Uncle Birch, but that name's out there way too much. Now the witch school having to spell Skewl, that is problematic. I just haven't figured out a way to
Heard,
fix that.
heard anybody but Uncle Birch? I've never heard that name.
What's that?
You said Uncle Birch is everywhere. Is that what you said? That name?
No, which
Uh,
school?
no, Uncle Birch is everywhere. It's like all of my accounts are Uncle Birch. If you Google Uncle Birch, I'm the only one that pops up, and
You
all
have,
of my
have you
shit pops.
trademarked it yet?
What's that?
Have you trademarked your name?
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I'm getting to here. Let me say this up front for anybody's in here.
SKOOL.
Oh, hey, CD.
Maybe.
Um, if you don't mind, Uncle Birch, I need to say something about Christian Day.
Yeah.
All y'all people coming to my page. Look, do you know how many times people talk smack about me? I
Yeah,
don't
I do.
know let me finish. I don't know Christian Day. I've heard of things that he's done. I've heard of things. I don't know if it's true, and it's not my place to go through the rumor mill. I don't do that. Just like I don't now allow it on my Discord. However, I will go off of my experience with Christian Day. I appreciate people warning me your own thing. That's fine. But I will judge Christian Day off of my interaction with Christian Day. So I
Absolutely.
to get that up. Any of those things that y'all put on that page, I'm going to delete it
Hmm.
because that's just not what I do. I don't judge
Yeah.
anybody. So I just
Well,
want to let y'all know. I don't think anyone who knows remotely who I am would be stupid enough to be disrespectful to me. And I don't mean that in a witch way. I mean that in a catch these hands way.
Yeah.
I am very respectful. He has yet to be disrespectful to my face. Lots of people are disrespectful behind my back. That's none of my business. So I want to
Well,
get that out there to y'all. You don't
absolutely.
understand how hard it is for somebody to let me on a circuit because they
Yes.
listen to rumors. So
Yes.
that's all I have to say about that. If y'all are
Well,
screen
and
recorded, there you go. There's your screen record.
why I knew
I
we
think the
could
back
do
of your
this.
book answers all of that,
Yes. Yeah.
Jennifer. You,
And when I
yeah,
started harping on him, trying to get the Witchtok witches in there, I was telling them that's like, we've got people as controversial in this world as you are in your world, and they are not thin skinned. And for WitchCon, you all are made to do WitchCon. If you
yeah,
can do a live video, keep track of the comments and comment on you're fucking set. So many big name pagans come to WitchCon and I see them stumbling and failing because they don't know how to work the technology. And it's like, wow. And you're like, this big name person. It's like, and I don't think in this day and age, the big name pagans are all authors anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's
I
other
love
people
that Steve
teaching.
gets in here.
Well, let me tell you, I came in 2019 to teach at Hex Fest. That's the first time I actually met Christian Day. We've been, corresponding for years, and barely knew the guy. Probably had like 2 or 3 interactions, and then there was the after party at his house where he was very cordial, and that's when I first met Brian. I always thought Brian was a little standoffish, and then so that's 2019 August. So 2019 November, we're coming here to look for a house. And 2 people knew about that, Hoodoo Sen Moise and Christian Day. We didn't tell fucking anybody what we were doing.
Right.
Christian Day, richest motherfucker I know, busiest man I know. It's like, he says, I want to help you look for a house. Send me the list of the places you're looking at. I will tell you what's a better place. Please let me know. It's like, dude, you're a busy man, man. I wouldn't expect that of you ever. I barely fucking know the guy. And he did that. And he taught us about the floodplain map. That's how you want to buy a house in New Orleans. You want to be on floodplain X, where it never fucking floods. He ultimately picked this house. This was his number one pick, and this was the house that was our number one pick. And he came here and toured the house with us. And it's like,
I got to leave and come back. I got to
okay,
echo.
okay. He
I'm
he
still listening. I'm still here, Birch.
he went out of his way for me, and he barely knew me. And I respect that. And he was right. He was right about fucking everything. Perfect neighborhood, perfect house, everything great. And he taught us a lot about New Orleans. Malikan Sala there, Eric. How are you? And bring Witchfoot back in. He was tripping.
Hey, Birch. I'll tell you what. You were right about that hotel,
It is. Yeah,
the Place de Arms.
yeah,
Way cheaper. Way cheaper. Thank you.
yeah. Well, I figured that because
Saved me
that's
about
where
400
Christian, I
bucks.
mean, when Christian Day has to pay for the travel and lodging of the presenters, he sends them to that hotel. So I'm going, okay, that hotel's got to be cheaper than the Bourbon
I
Orleans.
got to,
The location is
Yeah.
great.
I
And
got
it's
to,
just like, for me, it was great. It's like my first time there. I didn't know, first time in New Orleans, anything. And they have this courtyard with a pool and lots of tables to sit. All the presenters hung out after hours and you met everybody. Witchfoot, you have a question?
yeah. And I don't mean this in a, okay. So that, I don't mean this in a equal opportunity way. I have 2 Black practitioners that I was wondering if I could suggest them because the roster is pretty pale and
Do it.
but they don't have like the theme that's going through being so confrontational right now. They're
Hmm.
not like that. And I it's not me. I mean, I do like to be politically correct, but I think that that roster is incomplete because one of them is an ATR practitioner.
Yeah.
And
We
so,
usually have several. I haven't checked the list this year. I know we've got a priest from Haiti.
three.
There's the Romani family. It's like a mother and two daughters. That one's going to be fucking epic. But absolutely suggest it to him.
All right.
You've got his contact information. You know he knows you. You know him.
Yeah.
I suggest
Email.
it.
So I'm gonna ask him about a couple other people. I don't know how risque or how, because controversy sells tickets. So there's
Absolutely.
a
He will
couple of
not
Does
shy
it
for
ever?
controversy, man.
there's a one particular guy I think we all know that I would wonder if Christian Day would let on. He just came in the room. Um,
Ryan, huh?
it depends on. I want to talk to him because as a business person, I don't want to turn it into a fiasco because
Hmm.
Ryan's got legitimate information.
Yeah,
It's his setup. So I want to know how
yeah,
much
yeah.
you want to
Well,
sell.
I'm pushing for Hexfest too.
Okay,
This is
Chris.
just a
Yeah.
start. The TikTok witches are ready for WitchCon, absolutely, but I think a lot of people would be good at Witch or at Hexfest. And that one you're up in front of
Oh, okay.
people. Kind of a not really a stage or anything. They gave me a microphone in one. Like one last year, they put me right next to the vending hall. So
That's
in
too
order
much
for
power for you. That's too
yeah,
much power for
absolutely. I
you.
worked for that fucking mic. I was like Jerry. I was up and down the fucking aisles. You got a question? You got a question? Anybody? Jerry beats? Okay.
Jerry.
Here's your Jerry beats. But yeah,
I think
that was an
the
interesting
reason I
workshop.
asked you, is if it was all digital, it's because I've never been to Louisiana, and so I was going to fly down.
Yeah.
If there was
Heck,
an in-person place that did it, I was going to fly down there. I've never been there,
yeah. We
and
should come.
You,
Hang
you,
out. You could. We
Jennifer,
could.
you definitely should come. I'm actually going to HexFest as a participant, not a
there's a hex.
presenter. Huh?
There's a hex. Okay, well, don't go to Hexfest yet. I'm talking about WitchCon.
WitchCon is all
WitchCon is
digital.
online.
It's
Okay.
all
All digital.
online.
It's
That's
all
why I was
online.
asking you about
Yeah.
it, because if there was a couple of people that were going to be on site, I was going to request if I could be on site because I'd have flown myself down.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
no.
it's
WitchCon.
right from your
WitchCon's all
living room.
online.
Yeah.
Hexfest is all in
HexFest is
person.
the in-person event, and they
Yeah.
get a series of presenters to come down, do workshops. A
But
lot of the
who's over
shops
that?
close down.
That's Christian and Brian too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
they do
All
both
right.
of them.
And
Well, I guess
Hexfest.
I'll see how I do for
Yeah.
the WitchCon as to whether or not he would want me to come to a Hex Fest. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate him paying for tickets. I would go because I've never been. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm staying with one of y'all. I'm not paying for a hotel.
Try to stay with Bree. Bree
Uh,
might have some room.
Bree, you got any room?
Come
Well,
on.
nobody has to say it live in case y'all don't like me secretly. But I see no point in staying in a hotel room if I got friends down there.
Yeah,
I could
absolutely.
spend my money in better places. I can take y'all out to eat or some shit.
Worst come to worst, maybe we can clean up a guest room too.
Come share a room with me.
Clean? What the fuck you got to clean for?
Well,
I'd come down
our
to
guest room
HexFest
is
if
the
I had
storm
somewhere to
room.
stay.
Our guest room right now is the storm room. It's where we go when a hurricane's coming, so it's like
All
all
I need is a
barricaded and shit.
all I need is a fucking pallet on the floor. That's it. Anyway, yeah,
But we
because
could
I will
definitely, if it
absolutely.
doesn't work out with Bree, I'm sure we could pull that off.
Come be bunkies with me.
Philip, are you talking about me, Philip? Because that would be super awesome.
She's talking about you, Bree.
No, in the comments, he said I'd
Oh,
In
okay,
go
the
with you.
comments down here.
okay.
Oh my God, we would have a ball.
Yeah,
Oh hell yeah, we're going then.
yeah. So if you present at
I'll
Hexfest,
be
they
there
pay for
from the
your
11th
travel.
to the 14th.
If you
Oh,
present at Hexfest, they pay for your travel, your lodging, and I think you can get a booth in the vendor place too.
well, I guess we'll see if he approves of my
He
presenting
will.
at the
I
thing.
I know what
At,
I'm doing. He's gonna love you, oh man. And he really wants
how do
this one
y'all?
in the middle, Seraphima. He's really wanting her.
Well, I think it. Well,
She's
I'm
holding
thinking.
out.
She's playing hard to get. Yeah,
I
yeah.
am playing hard to get, aren't I?
Yeah.
You are playing hard to get.
Has anybody here besides Birch, I guess, presented online for him before?
Nope.
No, not in this
Nope.
kind of capacity.
Mm-mm.
I'm
Nope.
wondering what's the best way to. I'll just play around with my lightings and backgrounds because I don't want to be too fancy or people are going to think I'm faking it because y'all know me.
Let me do that.
You know what
I'll
I'm
be
saying? I can't get too much lighting or they're going to be like, oh, what the fuck?
I'll be
No,
sitting right here.
everybody is either sitting at their
You're sitting
desk, they're
right.
in
Yeah,
their
Okay.
living room.
yeah.
Some are in tank tops. Uncle Birch is in a leather jacket. You know,
Yeah.
he does his from his backyard.
Hmm.
It's
All
just
right.
like a live.
Well, I'll tell you that's another thing with goddamn Christian Day. We're on a live. Last WitchCon, I had some lag back here, and he found out about that. And he starts giving me shit on live. He says, "You need that mesh system I keep telling you about." And I'm going, I looked up that mesh system. It's 16 grand, dude. And he goes, "No, there's a smaller one for 169 bucks." Now I had bought two extenders for about 75 a piece
Oh,
that didn't help the problem. These New Orleans houses are long. The internet's way the fuck over there. We got to get it way the fuck out here. And none of that worked. And he told me to get this mesh system. And I could have got that for those two extenders that I bought. I installed that goddamn thing. My Wi Fi used to maybe deliver 80 megabits download and 30 upload on a good day. Immediately the same goddamn Wi-Fi is giving me 360 something megabits upload and 90 download.
oh
Or wait,
that's neat that
the
existed.
opposite. The download was the 300 and upload for 169 bucks on the same system that I've been paying like 250 bucks a month for. I never got what my Wi-Fi was providing. Honey, black
I'm
butterfly behind you
I'm
on the roof.
gonna try Starlink next
Starlink.
because
I,
they
I haven't
they have
I
one
haven't
that
seen
covers
Starlink.
the area. Recently, it got
Yeah.
approved here.
And so is that an extender or does that amplify?
No, that's how you get on the internet.
Oh, that's just the whole internet package. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have it a
It's
little different in Canada.
it's like satellite. So
yeah,
if you're out in the boonies or
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
something, it's optimal.
yeah.
They're
So
using it in
like,
Ukraine.
yeah, like when they shut
Not
down
bad. Black
Ukraine,
butterfly.
the
That's the roof.
president of Ukraine like tweeted or something was like, "Yo, Elon Musk, we don't have internet." So he programmed some of his Starlinks to go sit over and rotate on the Earth over Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They could have internet.
That's a hell of a
Yeah.
button.
And then
Yeah,
he
could
tried
you
to pull
imagine
it
having that
back.
button? Jesus.
So, and the one thing I noticed by looking up Starlink is getting a person on the phone is going to be hard, but when you have something's wrong, your account's in there, but they'll ask you for your phone number, and they ding this guy every hour to tell him the progress on what was going up until that satellite was where it was supposed to be. So
That's
even though like it's more advanced, I guess, digital customer service instead of people, but he's like, I was not mad. So I'm gonna try it out and then let everybody know.
yeah. Hey, occult bitch, how you doing?
I want Sarah to do it
Yeah.
because Sarah, for I know you're young, has such an even kill, right? So it's not like Sarah's gonna get up there and go, oh, wait, I'm on TikTok. F Christian Day. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of good information and you have a unique point of view.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
if
how
anything
old
was
do you
to
guys
get
think
rated,
I am?
you don't look over 30. You
I
look,
know not
if I was to
to this
guess, I
question.
would be like 22, 21.
I'll take it.
So,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
she
be
said.
I'm gonna be 37 this year.
oh, you know what? F you. You know what? Okay, I apologize for assuming you were young. I love to hear you talk. I
Oh,
love
well, thank you.
I love to hear your points of view on things. You've made me reconsider stuff. And I'll put it to you this way. I would pay to hear you talk.
Yeah.
That is a
And
huge
I don't think
compliment.
I'm the only one.
Seraphina, you're the only person I know that can be condescending and make me go, what? What'd she say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you come off very condescending, but in a way that makes people stop and think.
I don't think
And
she
you know
comes off
that.
that condescending. I think that's probably because I can come off as condescending. So I just don't see
No,
it.
you just come
Well,
off
it's the
mean. You just
it's
come
the
off mean. What you talking about?
neurodivergency. It doesn't always register to me because of the neurodivergency. I always say, like, the videos that I always get hit with, like, oh, that sounds really snotty or condescending, or you're
Never
so
gotten that.
arrogant. Those kind of videos are always just me kind of like trying to speak with clarity. Like, I want to be very careful about what words I use and
Isn't
how I'm saying it.
isn't it wild how different our perceptions are? You have never
Yeah.
been condescending to me.
Like most people think I'm really, really nice, but I'm not.
Perfect hair. This is what I get from you, Bree.
Oh shit.
If you listen to Bree and you don't offend Bree, you're good. But I think that's because I've been around people with that similar characteristic in life. Like Bree would, I'm guessing, would absolutely throw hands. Like before spells, she would throw hands.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
your
like
hair.
that. Mhm.
I've been in jail more than you have.
That's because look, that's just because most of my illegal stuff happened in Lake Worth, Florida, and I had stuff on them cops. That's all. I was just smarter about it. That's the only difference between people who went to jail and people who didn't. I just was smarter about it, and I knew other people's business.
Well, apparently I wasn't.
So let me.
But
So
So we got Ryan in now. So you guys aren't married anymore.
no,
You guys get along.
most of the time.
That's an honest answer. Okay.
No relationship questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Too
we don't.
late.
But no, we're not married anymore officially.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just besties. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we'll call it. We're besties.
You besties.
besties with benefits.
Okay, that's enough.
Besties
We're
with
not talking about.
occasional dick.
Yeah.
That's like
Oh,
I
here we
said,
go.
not.
Everybody like the broadcast now.
Uh,
Make it a lot, all right.
That was good.
I guess
I
I
was
just
not
answered
prepared
it
for
the other
that.
We
one
got any
didn't.
yeah, you
deliveries
just answered
coming?
that question, so yeah.
I don't think
Hold on, guys. Story time. Got to tell y'all something real quick.
Okay.
So my partner, my girlfriend, so she sends me Ryan's picture off of Twitter, and my first words to her was, "What the fuck did that bandana do to him?"
I
Oh my god! Listen, two lesbians looking at Ryan's pictures. We were not right for the rest of the day. I'm just
I
gonna
didn't
say
know you
that.
were a lesbian.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow. No wonder I like
it's a
you.
nice
You
art
see
form,
my
but
Batman haircut? You don't see
You know
that?
what's funny though, and I just want to say this without patting myself on the back, but I've had a lot of lesbians that really, really like me, and they told me if that they were straight, that they would fuck me, and I like that. I like that a lot.
I've had
I'm
quite a
just
few that
saying.
did
What did
back in
that
the day.
bandana ever do to you?
well, I think people misconstrue. Well, I guess it's common that people think that lesbians are anti eggplant, and mostly they are. But
As
they
always.
it. The thing is it's just it doesn't have to be attached to a dude. But if it is, it's like they want women for the romantic. But if they're just getting their oil change,
Actually, you know what? I remember now. I remember. I actually remember that I did serve as a third wheel one time for a lesbian couple, and it was so long ago that I forgot.
I was the unicorn
Also,
for a gay couple, and that was one of the most awesomest things I ever did.
by the way, up until like last week, Ryan, I had never seen you in drag before. It looks amazing. You
Yes.
did such a good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was pretty fierce, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Back
Yes.
in the day.
I'm telling you, dude, you got to that
Marta spends time on, like, I think it's the Marjorie Taylor Greene page or something, and listens to these right wing assholes go off and go. The problem is they're strutting around in these dresses and they think they're a woman. Like, drag queens? I think they don't know the difference between queens and trans people. They've kind of
Yeah.
just
No, they
lumped them
don't.
all together in their warped little minds. They don't know.
I don't think people realize that a drag queen or a drag queen can be someone of any gender, of any sexual orientation, because I knew a heterosexual drag queen. He didn't
I knew a
perform
lot
often.
of heterosexual drag queens. A lot
Yeah,
of
me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't do he was an entertainer. He was a musical theater major. He sang and he danced, and sometimes he would come out with his alter ego and he would perform and do female impersonation.
Oh yeah,
But
tap the screen, y'all.
it had absolutely it didn't being a drag queen doesn't even have anything to do with your sexual orientation. It's an
No,
entire
it's a performance. It's art.
performance.
If they
You
had
know.
drag king when I was coming up, you bet your butt I would have been one. I'd been a good one too. Y'all seen me as a dude.
Well, I
You'd have
one
been a
one
good drag king.
one day
Yeah.
I got an
Yeah.
email from our kid was in after school care. And I got an email saying that he was going to have a drag queen story time that day, and I'm going, oh, cool. And so I showed up a little early to patrol the perimeter, make sure there wasn't any Proud Boys around. And I went to pick him up, and they said, "Oh, I guess he's going to miss the thing." And I go, "Wait a minute, I'm early, so he's going to miss the drag queen story time." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "No, no, 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 no. I'm going to go sit in my car. I'll make some TikTok videos and shit. I'll come back in an hour."
Yeah.
And he's 12 at the time. He comes out. I said, "So they had a special event today, right?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "What was it?" And he said, "Some lady came in and read us books." And I go, "Okay, so that was a dude
But
in a
that's how
dress."
they did. Some lady came in.
And,
That's, you know
yeah,
what?
and he
Yeah.
goes, and I
For a
told him, I
kid,
said,
the
that was a
perception
dude.
is completely different than it is
Yeah,
for an adult.
yeah,
So
Thank
what
you,
a
Jasmine.
kid visually sees, that's the perception that they have. So if someone comes in female presenting, they're just going to say, "Oh, well, it was this lady. Oh, that
No,
man,
let me tell you
yeah.
something. To a child, a drag queen is like a clown. It's a person in a costume. They don't have any concept of gender. They don't have a concept of
He
sexual
does both.
orientation.
But he didn't even get the clown. He just thought it was a lady. So I told him, I said, "No,
Yeah.
that was a guy. That was a drag queen. It was a guy in a dress." He said, "Okay,
Jake,
so."
they thought
And I
they
said,
were.
"Well, there's some people, Trump supporters that have a problem with guys dressing in women's clothes." And he goes, "Why? Women wear pants." And I said, "You're fine.
Right?
We're
yeah,
fine.
you're good."
Discussion over. You're cool. You got this shit."
Yeah.
The parents that overdid it because I'm going to reenact the whole 3-minute conversation that me and Jade ever had about this. We were in the Dollar General. I'm going to say Jade was 4 or 5. I don't know. Little wee little thing. She looks over, and kids don't know how to whisper. We're standing in line, and she goes, "Mom, mom," and I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Why is that man wearing a dress?" And I
Yeah.
looked down. I looked down at her, and I looked up at the fella, and he was uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
all I said to this child was, "Oh, he feels like he's a woman on the inside, so he just dresses and makes himself mad outside. So you treat him like a chick." And Jade said, "Oh, never had a conversation about anything ever again in her life. Like people think kids are so stupid."
They're not.
Hmm.
No,
They're
That's the
not.
no,
only time I ever talked to them about it. They understood it. Like even if you don't agree with it, just leave that last sentence off. Like treat them as a girl. Just go, "Oh, they feel like that on the inside, so they dress like that on the outside." The kid will intuitively address them as a woman.
no.
Yeah.
Intuitively.
Well, they started sex ed like a week ago. So the only thing
Y-
that I've gotten out of the kid is they learned about consent. And in the rest of this
What
state,
grade?
that would be too woke.
What grade?
Sixth grade,
Oh, that's middle school now, right?
and,
Yeah.
and and consent would be too woke in the rest of the state. Be teaching kids about consent, and definitely
Hmm.
Florida, they have a problem with that.
I was
See,
gonna
I was
They,
really upset with the sex ed that they had for my son. He did it in grade 5. I mean, grade 4 they kind of touch on like anatomical names, but
what?
nothing like anything outside of that. And then so grade 5 they started having more conversations, and they absolutely set these kids up for failure
Yeah.
in this. It was like, go home and talk to your parent about puberty. Well, I'm a single mom. I can't tell my son about puberty because I have no idea what that experience was like. I can give him bits and pieces of what I think I can share as far as like, being able to regulate yourself and that you're going to start feeling different. But as far as like his actual experience, and they had this like questionnaire for him to fill out that was like so distinctly a man was the only person who could help him answer those. And
I
we
wish
don't have one.
I'd go find one.
Our kid had to fill out a
and
questionnaire
even
about
if
his
you
skull
did, it's
health.
like if I try and talk to my kid about that stuff, it's all weird. He feels weird. And one time he was earlier this year, I was picking him up, and there was these girls on the other side of the fence in the after school care, and they're like, "Bye, Sasha." Girls all like playing with her hair and shit. And I go, and she looked older than him. I'm going, so do they? Do you know those girls? He goes, yeah, I've seen them around. And I said,
Yeah, I think
so.
she was. He said she was an eighth grader.
So I said, look, I'm gonna have to talk to you about this stuff because I didn't figure this shit out until probably my late 20s, almost my 30s. Um, but there's certain signs of attraction that the opposite sex tends to emulate. Um, and the most common of those is the touching of the hair. When women start touching their hair when they're looking at you or talking to, that and the pupil dilation thing, but both of those get that. But that fucking hair thing is an absolute if there is an absolute with your confusing species. Because Ryan's not there right now.
Confusion species.
So I'm just trying to teach the kid, the few things that I picked up late in life that nobody fucking ever told me that made life so much easier. And he just looks at me and goes, well, Papa, I'm not planning on getting in a relationship anytime soon.
Let me tell you what I did. Okay. Let me tell
You're good, kid. You're good.
you. So I was unsure because I know that it hits kids younger now, and I was like, I don't even remember talking to my parents about this, but I wanted to talk to Jaden about it because I was raised not even to. Wait a minute, I'm on TikTok. Not that it was bad to handle my own business.
Yeah.
Um, so I made the most intense, graphically included, informative PowerPoints y'all have ever seen in your life. When I tell you it covered everything from anatomy to the different types of eggplants because they all look different, a whole chart of the a whole
The way
chart of
we have to talk over here, my
a whole chart of the different types of tacos, uh what what comes out of eggplants. When I tell
Wow.
y'all that child had everything that they needed to know, from the good stuff to the diseases, in this extensive PowerPoint, and
Good
then
on you.
I zipped a file and I put it on their laptop, and I said, "This is what is in this. When you get ready, you can go through this because me just telling you about it is not enough." And like,
Mhm.
had everything about how it is absolutely okay to handle yourself. And I had already taught them the value of their bodies, so I didn't have to go through that. I taught that for merely. And years later, y'all, years later, I found out that many of her friends learned about sex ed through that PowerPoint
They shared it.
Nice. They're just
when they
sharing it.
when they come
That's
to
so
the
cool.
house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
can I
honestly,
surprised
just
they
like,
give a
ever told you about
recommendation
it.
real quick?
yeah.
If you have someone who's going to puberty or whatever in your house, boy or girl, I'm just gonna say if you're a parent that feels a little uncomfortable about having like a real full on discussion about all of the birds and the bees, there is uh there is an absolutely great book that anyone can buy, which is called Come on, motherfucker. The
Never
book
heard
is
of it.
Oh,
called
come on,
the
Me neither.
motherfucker.
Come on,
the
I
motherfucker.
got
book
that
is
book.
called
Motherfucker.
The Guide to Getting It On, fourth edition. The Guide to Getting It On, fourth edition. That book talks about everything, and then at the same time, there's no photographs in that book. Everything is picture. There are pictures of things in there, but they're cartoon pictures, or
Yeah.
they're more silly, but explicit pictures about people. And I would recommend that you do that.
Porno.
Uh,
My generation learned
I
from
took
porn.
shit.
Yeah,
you know,
we were on our own.
one
We
of my
didn't have that
friends.
in school when I was little. We didn't have that.
One of my friends, the way her mom taught her about sex was she sat her down in front of the television and turned on Showgirls and left.
I love a bad
Wow.
Damn.
love that movie. It is so true when it comes to the pettiness of women.
Yeah.
That's why I like that.
My dad
Are you
sucked
okay?
ass so bad. What happened
Bree, you
was
good?
my dad
What?
had the
You good?
conversation with me, and he came to me when I was 16. I was like 15 turning 16. 15 turning 16, and my dad sat me down and said one morning randomly, we're at breakfast randomly, and he was like, "Well, son, we need to have a conversation." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "We need to talk about the birds and the bees." And I said, "Dad,
Little late.
I know already." And he goes, "You know about all of that?" And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I already know about all of it. I'm all set." And he was like, "Oh, okay,
Okay, bye.
good." And that was the
Okay.
first and last conversation my dad ever had about sex and intimacy ever.
Oh, you know what? That's something that the last two generations have no idea what it is.
Intimacy. No idea. None.
Or fathers teaching us stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bert, I was so concerned about that influence after my dad died because that was Jaded's
Battery, baby.
that was Jaded's dude. That I went and asked my uncle to please take that place. His children were grown, and I was like, not every day, but please, so they have that balance. And
hmm
he is one of the most awesome men I've ever met on this planet. And they would go over in his garage and make stuff. They would go on motorcycle ride. They go out now to drink.
Stop.
They go drinking together. But I was so concerned about that because my generation X, if I'm correct, was the first one where there was no dads.
Yeah.
I had a dad, but he was a piece of, and I had seen my friends' kids grow up, and I was like, no, there's no way my kid's gonna be a statistic like that. So I literally, if it's one you trust, you don't want to find somebody that them. But I went and found one. I sure did.
Yeah, I saw my dad on occasional weekends and that kind of thing. We
Yeah,
were
they.
latchkey kids. We pretty much raised ourselves. Mom wasn't home till like 10, and she'd drink herself to sleep, and then I'd be free again. But
What?
I wouldn't have had it any other way. I couldn't have become who I became if I didn't have the absolute freedom to figure all this shit out myself. I wouldn't have been able to take the GED and drop out of high school to study witchcraft full time, which I don't recommend, kids. I forget we're on TikTok. I say, kids, stay in school, but that happened to work out for me. It should not have, probably, but that's exactly what I needed to do.
Mm.
You got
If you're a female, you should
Hey,
not be.
for you, baby. Yeah.
go ahead.
If you're a female, you absolutely should have no reservations about talking to your son about sex and his dick. You
Oh
you
yeah,
really
No.
shouldn't. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just putting this out there
I would find it
because
too, but I would totally talk to them about that shit. You need to keep.
the least thing you can do is let him know that you're available to talk to him about anything he wants to talk about whenever he needs to talk about it when it comes to his body or what's going on with girls or boys or anybody else that he dates.
No, and
Because
and honestly, like I've always been the parent that like if he had any kind of like discomfort about his body or questions about his body, he knows he can come and talk to me. I think what's happening right now in particular is one, that particular curriculum with the sex ed just completely set him up for failure. But also he's not at the same level as a lot of the other little boys his age. He's disabled, and so any kind of like intimate or girl boy relationship that he thinks of, it's like, oh, that's my buddy. And it's like, oh well, do you have
Oh,
feelings for
I,
your buddy? No, I don't care. And so a lot of the other kids are talking about boyfriends and girlfriends. He's like, yeah, I don't care.
yeah, I
I'm just not into it.
sense now.
So, a question, Ryan.
Mm.
Do you have any kids, Ryan?
I have a 15-year-old daughter. She's going to be 15 this year in October.
And you've opened that up to her, and she
I've
comes to
talked to
you
her
and
about
asks
sex,
you things.
pregnancy, and everything. I had absolutely no problem talking to her about anything.
I've got a 26-year-old daughter. I had the same open book policy, and she just never came to me. With the
And that doesn't
son,
mean your kid will.
I
It doesn't mean that they will.
I know. Well, with
he
the
was
son,
a
I
dickhead,
found
but
that there's
I
certain things
don't
I just need to say to him, uh, even though he's not going to ask. So there's certain things that I have to say in front of him. And when that situation comes up, I'm hoping that my haunting voice is in the back of his head when he faces that situation, because he just won't ask
Yep.
make a power.
most things. He has the same problem in
PowerPoint.
school. He won't raise his hand. He won't. He's like, "You're having problems in math. You know, what's your teacher say?" Well, I didn't ask her. And then we went to the teacher conference. He never asked me anything. It's like, he needs to ask. So I'm just working on that one thing. If I can get him to ask his math teacher, maybe he can ask me. I'll fucking talk to him about anything. He's an atheist as far as I know right now. I learned that from his TikTok channel. I'm not going to tell anybody what his TikTok channel is, but he's a good boy. He never showed his face. He did all the safety parameters that Dad taught him, but he did not ask permission to start a TikTok channel. So I scrolled through one day when I was, hacking his phone, which any responsible parent should probably do. And I learned a great amount of things. He has great opinions on veganism and
Here,
supporting
hold on, Birch.
trans
Christine, are you
people.
okay, love? Are you okay, Christine?
What happened?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm so
Okay. Well,
unlucky.
you can just chill out with us.
Yeah.
Let
She
us
got a
know if
lot
you
going
need
on.
anything.
Did something happen?
If you want to speak up, you can talk to us, or you can contact. I know you can contact me privately if you don't want to talk about it publicly.
No, most of you know what happened when I was younger. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just hard. You know.
You you can DM me if you want to talk privately. I'll listen.
Okay. Most of you know
Okay.
what my brother did to me when I was younger.
No, and I can understand with where we were going with that
Yeah,
conversation how that
I
could be
know.
upsetting for you. So I'm really sorry if anything we said brought something up, unfortunately.
No, it's okay. Y'all could talk. You
Okay.
know.
Well, it seems like
Okay.
that you might need to get it out to feel better. So if you do, please reach out to me on DM.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm silent as the grave. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we can change the topic to
Yeah.
anything else.
No, no,
We're
no,
good.
no.
Yeah.
We're just chatting away.
No. Yeah, go
All over
ahead.
the map,
Yeah, go
really.
ahead. You
Yeah. It's a
know.
subject I want to bring up. I don't want to. I'm going to skip it. I don't want to get you too fired up because I was going to talk about the absence of intimacy in men and what are done to them, and I'm not going to bring that up because I can see where this is going. So let's switch.
Ooh.
No. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay.
Well, last night I had a moment too, Christine. I was having a moment too because I've got a lot of sex and intimacy problems myself, which people might be surprised about, given that I basically shake my ding-a-ling in front of everybody's face all over the internet. But
I've missed it. I have not seen this.
I missed
but
it.
What channel is that?
Yeah.
I actually found out
You're
like the
haywire.
actual name, the name for the abuse that I suffered from my mother and my aunt when I was a kid, and it's called emotional incest. Because last night
Oh,
I was talking to
Yeah.
somebody online or watching a video, and they were talking about the harmful effects of emotional
It was
incest on
I
Really?
children.
saw that video too. It was about the boy moms.
I didn't see a TikTok about it. I just somebody was, huh?
I'm just repeating that.
It's called emotional incest, and it's a whole thing. And I'll just explain to you what it is. And I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to turn it into depressing, but I
Yeah.
was having my moment last night, Christine, which is why I understand, how these feelings pop up. Because I'm thinking to myself, man, where did I go wrong in my relationships? Sorry, Jennifer is like right here, but I'm thinking, what happened? Like, what really happened to
Oh,
me
it's
to
in my.
create problems for myself surrounding love, intimacy, or sex or anything else. And
Right.
so I always have to go back to my childhood, and I always have to go back to the relationship I had with my mother and my aunt. And the specifically the words used to describe perfectly my child abuse is emotional incest. because emotional incest and sexual abuse can happen without physical touch.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does. You don't have a parent doesn't have to be physical with a child in order for them to experience this stuff. No, we talk about the real things on this app. We don't fuck around. We talk about the real situation. And what that is it's when one or both parents or a family member takes a little child and forces that child into an adult relationship with the
God,
adult.
yeah. I just didn't know it was a thing.
That's the word for it. So like I know that when I was a kid, my aunt made me her boyfriend slash husband, and my mom made me the replacement for my father. So growing up, my needs were never met. I was very, very neglected as a child. My needs emotionally were not met because even at the age of 6, I was the emotional support
Yeah.
to these women.
That's
Yeah.
I
right.
was the person trying to help them fix their problems. I was listening to them talk about very adult things that I had no business talking about at the age 5, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old. It was completely age inappropriate for me to deal with these, all of this bullshit going on with adults that had nothing to do with me, including their sexual frustration, including their problems, like my
Mm-hmm.
mom's problems with my father. So that is officially the word that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make a TikTok about it. I'd like
Dude,
to do
yeah,
a
because
series of
I'm
TikTok.
educated as hell and I didn't know that existed. But from
Yeah.
the stuff you've told me privately, oh my God.
And it's called when you grow up like that and you become like me, it's called You're an Adult Child. And the way
Mm-hmm.
to do the emotional work on that is doing adult child work or like healing inner child stuff. And I've never done any kind of healing inner child work ever. So like right now, my focus on my recovery and healing is I'm going to learn more about this topic matter. I'm going to watch more YouTube videos about it. I'm going to see if there's any books about it. I don't have any desire to be a part of any support groups. I can't stand other people. I don't want to
I
do it.
have a few recommendations for books. That's a process that I've been doing for about 2 years now, roughly, is a lot more of the inner child work and reflecting on behaviors that I was exposed to as a child. Um, and it's heavy stuff, and some of it's just like woo-woo nonsense. But I do have a couple recommendations. I'll DM you later with the book
Now,
titles.
I'm not saying it's unhealthy for a child to be exposed to or hear about or talk about things that happen between adults. I'm not saying that, understanding sexuality or how the birds and the bees work, is harmful to a child. I'm talking about specifically taking a child and making that child your spouse,
That's exactly
Yeah,
what.
taking that
putting them
child
in
and
an
making them your
emotional
partner.
role of an adult.
Yeah.
Right. You're forcing a child into an adult role.
I
Hmm.
had the parentification thing, but I didn't. That's
So
exactly
I
what was
saw
done.
that word too, parentification, but I don't know what that means.
No, it's
That goes
different.
alongside with that actually.
You,
Parentification, when you've been put both emotionally and mentally into an adult role as a child.
Yeah.
you remember what I told you? What happened to me after my dad had a heart attack when I was a child, and I became
Yes.
the head of the family and had to do
Yeah.
all the, that's parentification.
Hmm.
Yeah. When you
What
have a
the
child parenting the parent.
well the but see the problem is that my aunt she basically made me her partner, and when I was 13 turning 14, I had the opportunity to move away to go to school at a boarding school in Washington D.C. I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, but I had the opportunity to move to D.C. in order to go to school. My aunt got so angry at me for making the choice to go to school
Like you
that
broke.
she acted like a scorned woman, and she basically didn't she punished me emotionally, mentally for years
Crazy.
after going to school. And I was so upset by it. I was so hurt by it at the time. And now when I look back at it, I'm mad.
You should be.
Yeah.
I'm mad about it.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that rage is warranted. That upset, that kind of like realization, it brings out frustration and anger. It brings out all of those emotions that you weren't capable of exploring when it was happening. You didn't have the language and you didn't have the experience to understand.
Yes, and what's worse than that is a child goes through levels of development. You're a
Yeah.
child, and then you start approaching teenage years, and then you start approaching puberty, and then you start learning about your body, and you start learning about relationships between the opposite sexes or whatever. And then you start having these kinds of feels, and then you start getting into these relationships casually or in a playful way with other people your own age. Do you
It
know
was
how
a lot
fucked up you
of
are as a do you know how fucked up you are as an adult when you're already in a emotional sexual relationship with an adult way before you ever hit puberty?
childhood.
So it means that I never had the ability to develop. I never had the natural ability to develop on my own to find out what I liked, what I wanted. People who suffer from emotional incest, and I'm sorry I took over the live. I'm going to shut up in a second.
No,
People
no.
that suffer from emotional incest have a lot of gender identity dysphoria. Okay, that can create gender identity dysphoria. It can cause sexual orientation dysphoria, not knowing what your sexual orientation is. So it affects it affects your perceptions of yourself, and it affects your ability to develop as a natural person. So instead of me growing up and naturally knowing who I am because the flower blossoms, it's like somebody just rips the petals wide open
And
and
it
then
was
just
so
leaves it.
long.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
it's emotional conditioning is what it is because
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you know, you've preset the settings on a person. And so when they go out into the world,
yes.
it, you know, you've already have those settings of what an emotional interaction is supposed to look like. Oh, well, I've had emotional interactions since I was a kid. I've had these kinds of interpersonal connections since I was a child. But because somebody else set the settings for you, you then have to go back and go, okay, well, are those actually my settings?
And I had to do that, and
Yeah.
guess when I did that? I didn't start doing that till my 30s
Mhm.
because well actually that's not true, in my late 20s, because I always thought I was gay. Growing up, I just felt like I was shy around women, or I kind of like had this repulsion towards women, or I just backed away from women altogether.
Yeah.
So I thought that I was gay because I had this feeling like I don't really want to get involved with females. Well, around the age of 25, I realized that I like pussy, and I was not gay.
Yeah.
And I woke up one morning and said, wait a minute. I've said I was gay for the past 21, 22, 23 years, but I'm not. And that crisis that happened to me in my 20s, man, the fuck shit that went on, I can't even begin to tell you how crazy that was, because that was a direct result of the emotional incest I experienced dealing with my mother and my aunt growing up.
That's so crazy. What a
Well, because
It,
you would
breakthrough.
relate it to emotional trauma. It would be latent emotional trauma. It would be like subconscious emotional trauma. So it wouldn't be surprising if you didn't find that attraction because for you, engaging emotionally with a woman meant what was happening with your mother and your aunt.
it also explains a lot about how you react to people that say things to you in a certain way. It
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense because you're like, okay, I know he doesn't give a fuck about this person. Why is he reacting in such a way? It absolutely explains a lot, Ryan.
Yeah,
It
and
does.
also one more thing I just want to throw in there, and I want to add, what you guys have to remember is 1 in 4 girls will experience either grape or sexual assault before the age of 18. 1 in 4, that's a lot of women.
Lucky.
But
Yeah.
1 in 6 males will also experience some
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
rape or sexual assault. So when
Yep.
you're walking down the street and you're interacting with people, as someone who was sexually abused as a child, I have to tell people, just remember that 1 in 6 men that you walk into on the street has experienced some kind of sexual trauma. And I have to remember that 1 in 4 women, there are there are 4 women in this room that, before the age of 18 experienced unwanted sexual assault. And so what I'm saying is, or maybe more, I don't know, but the point is that whenever you meet a man, if you're a woman and you start dating a guy, this is how to know whether or not you've been in a relationship with or started dealing with a guy who has sexual trauma. Do you know those guys that ghost on you? Have you ever dated a guy and he was really cool? Like he had a great personality, he had money, he took care of himself. He knew how to pay his bills. Like he seemed like he would be a really great partner. He seemed like he'd be a great boyfriend. So you guys start dating and you kind of mess around a little bit. And then one morning you wake up and he's gone. You never hear from him again. I tell people that was probably a guy. That was probably one of those 1 in 6 guys, because I don't know what Birch has to say about this, but I know that men, when they're uncomfortable emotionally, they bail. boom, gone. Am I right?
Ooh, I'm very manly in that aspect then.
Well, and I think one thing that we have to remember is that in raising young men, particularly in Western society, we don't give them the language to be able to emotionally express themselves. So a lot of this
Oh yeah,
trauma
we did.
and sexual or unwanted sexual attention, they don't have the words for, and they don't identify it immediately as, oh, hey, this wasn't okay. I wasn't comfortable in this situation, because we've just continuously indoctrinated that men are inherently sexual and any kind of sexual attention is good attention. And, kind of deprogramming from that must be so difficult.
Well,
You
there's for the longest
have
time, and I
practice
mean,
before they could talk good.
for the
Hmm.
longest time, the idea was you can't sexually assault a male. That
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not possible.
yeah.
You can't
it's
do that.
sick.
That's not a thing
Well,
for a long
I mean
time.
that I never experienced that, but I'm just listening and thinking. It's like when I was polyamorous for 20 years, there wasn't a whole lot of amory. Um, there was a lot of sex, and I rarely was there in the morning. Unless I just really passed out. I slipped out all the fucking time, and I was emotionally unavailable. So there really wasn't. I mean, the option was there, but I wasn't really amorous about anybody. And then, of course, as you know, this bitch showed up and fucked that all up. So
I'm a destroyer.
you're a destroyer,
I'll tell you
Doctor
one
Claw.
thing that I want to pony off of this, and I thought it before I had met Philip, is because of Christianity and Islam and circumcisions, the amount of intimacy and male spaces has been stolen away from men. So that if they have any encounter, even a feeling towards another man, it's bad. When every history book on the planet, men have always taken care of other men. The oldest bathhouses in archaeology are not for women. And
No,
a
no,
lot
they
of
are not.
women in Western society feel
Ginormous.
that it's gay. And I'm like, it's not gay. Men, until Christianity and Islam came around, had now that's not discounting that there were gay men, but men handled each other. What do you think they did for years at war, years on the ship? That's what they did. And I had the privilege of them not knowing I was present during one of these things. And when I tell any women that are watching this, you can never mimic that energy. And I thought of all the men who never experienced that energy. It is a very unique, intimate male energy. And it it makes me so mad. We bitches be doing this all the time, okay? And the fact that it got taken away from men and then you wonder why men can't express themselves, that's why. If they even think, man, that's a good looking dude. Oh my God, I'm homosexual. Oh, it's ridiculous. Men handled each other usually with their hands for thousands of years.
Yeah,
And
you
that
make
is
me think of the Theban tribe of ancient Greece were the most feared warriors of all of
yeah.
the Greeks. They were all gay men, partner next to partner.
And
And
when
so
Yeah.
you
they
when
fought with
you
a
And to
behemoth.
elicit a
They,
stronger response to protect the ones that they love. Yeah.
when
yes,
you
they
circumcise
literally had each other's backs.
when you
But
circumcise
Literally. Sorry.
when you circumcise, you steal so much sensitivity away from a man because
Uh oh, here we go. She's going to go off on her circumcision rant.
yeah, when you circumcise the top of the eggplant, it's constantly touching fabric. You take so much sensitivity. Oh, I get so bent. You take so much sensitivity. It is stolen from men, stolen from them. And I'm not. I'll get really mad about this, so I'm not going to
well,
keep.
all based in Puritan culture.
It.
Cleanliness, it has nothing to do with
Look,
science.
Well,
if you can't teach your kid how to pull back some skin and use some soap, that's your fault as a parent. It's just oh,
Mojo.
dang.
well, but
Clean that
Truth be
Sharpay.
now this is coming from a circumcised guy who goes commando all the time. Too much sensitivity makes one a two-pump chump.
Now you know. Look here. How
Uh
old are you?
oh. Uh oh. Here we
Uh-uh.
go.
How old are you, Birch?
57.
You know well that you can train yourself not to do that. So don't you bring up that two pump chump yes with me.
But I just think if I was that much, if I wasn't circumcised and wore underwear, I would be so much more sensitive. Would I be a two-pump chump? Even
No,
with
but
all those techniques, you can't
would.
always reach around and hit that spot on the taint at the right time, the
Your
pressure point. It's
body,
tough. Man,
your body,
Can we talk about tacos
this
again?
one's going up on YouTube later.
So much
your
more
body
comfortable
get a
talking about vaginas.
Let's talk about the tacos.
Neighbors listening. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
body would. And let me tell you
They
something.
have all this information on you now.
I don't know if
It
I don't
doesn't
know
matter if it's
if
clean
men
or it's barbaric. It's
Yeah.
barbaric. Why would you take a knife to a little girl's vagina? You wouldn't do that, but they do
Yeah,
that
no,
in countries.
there is no scientific basis to prove with certainty that it's cleaner if you have proper cleaning procedure
You
to,
teach your kid how to clean their member.
yeah,
That's what you
look
do.
from a
and
woman
it's not hard to
view.
do.
If you have been with a circumcised dude and an uncircumcised dude, you will go for the uncircumcised dude every time
No.
because you get two passes for every one of his.
Ah,
So that's that extra skin. You get two
two
passes
passes.
for every one of his
If you
because of that sensitive place right at
taken
the door.
notes and compared the
You
two,
get with somebody that
Never
hasn't
been
been
with them.
circumcised, you're like,
Jew.
Now, I do want to say
Yeah,
that, this
I mean,
topic
I've seen
of
it in like porn and stuff,
this
but
this is what I have to say about circumcision, and there's a lot of women in this room, and if I piss you off, I don't give a fuck if I piss you off or not, okay? This is just how I am, and this is here comes Brujo Ryan for a second. Circumcision is a men's issue,
yeah.
just like abortion is a woman's issue. I believe it is the man's responsibility to make the choice as to whether or not his son is circumcised or not. It is not a woman's fucking right to make that decision about whether
I
or not their
totally
son
left
gets
it up to
circumcised or
you,
not, period.
no matter what I
I
thought.
It's a
agree, but
men's issue.
most men default to the woman when they're born.
I
I
understand that.
I have nothing but respect for your opinion, but as a mom to a beautiful young man, it was my decision. Ultimately,
Then you shouldn't have made that decision. You should have left it alone. That's what I'm saying.
to
Because
It's not
I
saying
don't
what
like it
decision she
talking
made.
about my son in these terms, but I opted to not get him cut. I did not think it was appropriate.
there you go. Then you made the right choice.
That was
Yay.
but ultimately, like when I'm thinking back to when he was first born and I was having these discussions with his father at the time, and it was like we did have a bit of a back and forth, and I ultimately decided no, because
He
it's not
wanted
my
it cut.
body.
He
he
wanted it
he
cut.
did he
Yep.
did and I said no, it's not my body.
So yeah, sometimes you have to interfere against the man in order to prevent it from being cut. But otherwise,
Oh,
I agree with your position.
bye, Bree.
Bye, guys.
Oh,
Bye.
Bree is
Thank
taking off.
you. Bye.
Bye.
So
Bye.
the thing
But yeah,
is
I
that
respect your decision.
you made the right
Yeah,
choice.
I think I did. I feel confident in the choice that I made. I just, ultimately, because that is going to be such it's such a private area for each person. I just felt like if one day he goes out into the world and he decides that that's something that he wants to do for his own body, then I'm going to support him regardless.
The
Yeah,
But
no
at
doctor
the
one's going to
has
be
time,
been.
20 years old and want to get circumcised at 20.
I mean,
I
I don't think that's going to happen. But if in some parallel universe that's what he decided, of course I would support him in that. But
Chantel, don't agree
ultimately,
with
at
that.
that time, this
Cord.
is the life that I literally risked my life. I had a really horrible pregnancy, but I risked my life to bring into this world. That was my baby, and it was going to be my choice.
Well, I
Well,
don't
well,
think
here's the thing.
anybody. I don't think
Chantel just said something important. What about in Mexico, girls get their ears pierced as babies?
I'm
There's a
against
lot of cultures that do that.
I'm
I
against
don't think you should do any body modifications to any children all period until they grow
I
up. They can
don't.
make up their own
I don't
mind.
think anyone has the right to alter any intersex child. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah, no, intersex children, I agree. I don't think that any kind of modification is necessary. I think there's so much more to a person than just what's between their legs, that to dictate someone's entire existence based on that seems so fundamentally wrong.
No, I don't think ears should be pierced as children,
Now, I do want to just say one last thing.
but I
Mm.
would
I
agree that.
my dad uncircumcised. My dad was uncircumcised. My
Hmm.
dad, as an uncircumcised man, chose to have me circumcised. I'm circumcised. Now, the doctor did a really, really bad job. You
Yeah,
actually
it's
can't
good.
My
tell
dad.
whether or not it is or isn't. But the
It's a
point is,
blessing. Yeah, you were an act.
but the point is that even though that was done for me, I can tell you that after 43 years of growing up and and sexual stuff, that it doesn't bother me. Like
Hmm.
I'm not so mad about it that I'm going to get angry and shake my fist over it because
Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't think y'all would be because you don't know what you're missing, but you don't miss much
correct.
Well,
because
and
you have
not
a lot
only
of
that,
extra.
but what could you do about it? I've always like experienced like when you have rage, it's to a purpose. You can if you're raging about something that there
Yeah,
is no other outcome to,
you got to
then
let.
what are you using your energy
Well,
for?
I mean,
Yeah,
think about it. Like that's your introduction to the world. You pop
Hmm.
right out of the womb, and the next thing you know, as soon as you open your eyes and you start breathing and you're trying to survive, 2 days later, a day later, they show up and they take the tip of your member
yeah.
off. Welcome to the
I think
world.
what they're saying is if it's already done, put that anger towards what we do, which is preaching out against it. Like you
Mm,
can't stay mad once it's chopped off, and plus you don't know
yeah,
what you're missing. So, and you're not missing much because you still got a lot.
All right, that's
yeah,
enough about eggplants. I think that's why Bree left.
yeah. There are
Too
two
much
things
eggplants.
down here in the comments in regards to body, like some body modifications in children. While I personally would not have opted to have any kind of body modifications for my child, there is a distinct cultural and historical element to some of these
Yes.
body modifications that I am not party to. I don't know what that cultural history means to each individual person. Like you see in places in India where very small girls have their nose pierced and
Yeah,
stuff
I would
like that.
never force mine on a different culture. I would never force my point of
Well,
view.
and that's, yeah, and so I mean there is absolutely that kind of like nuanced area of understanding that there is cultural and heritage behind some of these modifications that we don't get to have an opinion on and we
Yeah.
couldn't
No, I'm
understand.
only talking about run of the mill America.
Well, here's the thing. There's something called phimosis. Okay, what is phimosis?
Man,
Phimosis
no,
is what happens when the foreskin on the male member is abnormally tight, which can create inflammation,
it's rare.
soreness. See, I have my computer because when I want my reference here, chronic
Hmm.
infection. It can create
I
prostatitis.
agree.
Okay, it can go back into the urethra all the way to the prostate. Um, and at some point in time, a man might have to get that cut. Might have to. He
Oh
might
yeah,
not have
medical
option to.
necessity is a completely different ballgame to personal choice for sure. Medical necessity, that's a whole different kettle of fish. You have to weigh out
But
all of
I'm
that.
thinking when you're talking about like the Jews, okay, when we're talking about the Leviticus and we're talking about Jewish law, the Jews were actually really fucking progressive. They were actually really progressive, especially when it came to health related things and
I
health
agree.
concerns. They were not stupid people. They were very smart. And so it might have been that because phimosis was a thing, instead of waiting till a man was 20 or 30 and starting to have problems with his member, that they decided just to do it at the beginning. It could have been
Hmm.
a cultural thing. We're going to cut this thing off now because when this person grows up, we are not going to cut this thing off later. You know,
Yeah.
it could have been part of that culture that was a very widespread common issue among males. And so they decided
Well,
to
and
fix that.
one thing I always say is that we cannot judge history through our lens of modernity. So what was happening historically in order to get people to a place where that was considered the social norm, we won't ever fully understand. So I certainly have no judgment as far as like why people started doing it. It could have been a social thing. It could have been a regional need. It could have been, like you suggested, a medical need that they were seeing quite frequently. So there is a multitude of reasons why it
I,
started.
I'm just
In
saying.
the,
All I'm saying is there needs to be a legitimate reason. for
Yeah,
mutilating your son's junk, other than my God said so.
preference. Yeah.
Okay. Or because my husband says, vanity reasons. That you don't get to force your vanity on your child.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, no. No. I understand in areas where there are lots of areas where there's not bathroom standards or hygiene standards in whole countries. I get it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about regular old run of the mill America.
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about.
Well, I heard, I don't know if it's true, I heard that if you were uncut, it was more susceptible to STDs and infections and
It
stuff.
If you
is.
don't your
But you have to
Yeah.
clean, you have to clean it. It has to be clean, and
Right.
that's the big thing. It's a cleanliness related issue. It's
that's
time
what
for
I get
some WEED, y'all.
in countries where it's not easy to
Yeah.
keep your hygiene up, totally get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Referring to regular old America.
Yeah.
Right.
My aunt, her youngest, she had one of those oops kids that was a
Uh,
boy. There
Oops,
was no
babies.
there was no man there, but I was considerably older. I was like 30. I'm the one who taught, not directly on him. I taught him with props and shit, sock and
right.
the how
Yeah.
he do that every day, but I also told him why, not
Right.
graphically.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you have to do this, or I would be like, you're, you know what, is going to get sick and it's going to be in pain. That's how I explained it to an itty bitty kid.
Yeah.
So it's a hygiene thing, and like I say, I don't get it in America. There's just no reason.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
no.
Right.
Well, and like I said, the hygiene thing, it's easy to teach them because you don't teach them any other way,
Yep.
Right.
right?
Right.
Like from the minute you start teaching them how to bathe, you just instill this is how you bathe. This is the
Right.
standard.
Yeah, because I know a 45-year-old man that had to, he had, well, it was a friend of mine's ex, had to get, at 45, get, cut because he kept getting infections. I'm like, well, what the hell? He ain't cleaning it? Messing with some nasty women? you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, Christine, can I give you a compliment? I want to give you a compliment.
Okay.
And I hope you don't take this the wrong way because I'm not calling you old either. Has nothing to do with age, okay?
I'm old. I'm about to be 45.
That ain't.
You you remind me of my grandmother, and I loved
Really?
my grandmother.
Oh
You
yes,
you
Oh,
you did.
your features, your
yeah.
cheekbones, and your eyes and your
Oh,
mouth, you remind me
really?
so much of my grandmother on my
Oh,
mother's side. And I
really?
just keep looking at you and I'm like, what is it about Christine that looks so familiar? And I just realized you have features
Oh,
just like my grandmom.
That's a
oh,
compliment.
thank you.
That's a huge compliment. Yeah.
Was she Native American?
She has Native American and
Yeah,
English. A lot of English and Native
yeah,
American,
yeah.
yes.
Cause see, I got Cherokee, and everybody says I got the cheekbones of the Cherokee.
Yeah, you've got those high cheekbones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Please
Thank
do.
you. Mm.
But
Oh,
well,
just in the comments here, yeah, Lacey is right.
what
Don't
did
argue with
Lacey
that comment.
say?
I
Lacey
wasn't
says
arguing.
never pull back the foreskin on a child, never force it
Yeah,
back.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
you don't,
That.
never,
you
ever, ever, ever.
you can rip it.
You can do
Yeah.
really terrible, irreparable damage. Like it's a hospital trip if you
Yeah.
do
No.
that.
I.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of like don't know about it. Like I said, I'm not mad about it. It was done to me. I'm not mad about it. Every man that I've ever met, and I'm a sex worker, and I've done male for male erotic massage for the past 16 years. I'm like an old school whore. I've never met a man that was like mad.
Oh,
I'm
so
serious. I've never met a man that was mad one way or another. They
Yeah.
might be for it or against it, but
I
not
haven't
mad about it.
Right.
yeah.
because I mean you don't know what you're missing. So no. Okay. Now we look. I'm going to switch to women. We got
All
we got
right, bye.
three.
I'm out of here.
We got
Uh,
three
no,
here.
we have to listen to you. Now you're gonna listen to us.
So we got three Gen X or close to it. You're at the end of it, Seraphima. I think
Hmm?
of Gen X. You're at the end of Gen X.
Um,
Well,
yeah, I'm like right at the tail end / into the elder millennial kind of zone.
Do y'all understand? I don't know if you're aware of this, that from after Gen X, so Gen Y or Gen Z, do you know
Gen
that
Z.
they lay there?
The
The
what?
what?
The women,
Uh,
they lay there like starfish.
Oh,
oh Lord,
that's
no.
unfortunate.
They have
Right?
Corn?
taken back. I'm
Uh,
serious.
oh Lord, that's crazy. I've had someone tell me, like, she was a probably a couple years older than me, and tell me, "Well, what you supposed to do? You just lay there." I'm like, excuse me.
But you know what I think it has to do with a bigger problem
Uh,
is that I didn't have to go through this once my mom changed her view stuff.
yeah,
Women are not taught that they can enjoy it.
Intercourse. No, absolutely not. It is a duty, and right up until probably when women start entering into the workforce, we start to see a big shift in like social change and understanding about the needs of women and stuff like that. But up until that point, yeah, because parents didn't talk about it. It was
I
like on
want
your wedding day they might have a conversation about like, oh well, it might hurt or something like that, but otherwise there was no discussion about it, and it was seen as simply a duty and a functional
to.
thing that they had to participate in.
I
yeah,
would rather
like,
that
Circles.
Little
than
circles.
finishing every time. Like what is wrong? Like I taught Jaded. We're not going to get into that. Like what? If
sure,
it doesn't feel good in that way, then tell them to move the other way. Like
yeah.
what?
Well,
Well,
somebody
Yeah.
said you
let
ride
me
it
tell
like a
you
hula hoop.
something. My
I
daughter's
like the
14
hula hoop
years old.
comment. I
My
like the
daughter's
hula.
14 years old, and I told her that she comes first. I was like, when I say you
Yep.
come first, baby, I mean you come first. You make sure that that guy gets you exactly where you need to go before he goes. And if he goes before you, or he doesn't take care of you, or he
Okay.
neglects your body, or he doesn't give you your special O, then fuck him, ditch
Right.
him, and find somebody else. I told
It's
my 14-year-old
crazy.
old that.
It's
Thank
crazy.
you, Temple.
Like it's just absolutely insane. I was like, you know what? This is going to lead me into another thing. It's going to piss off people, women in this comments, but I don't care. The reason for first of all, I'll let Jay know from the jump
Hmm.
that the whole thing it can be enjoyed. Find the way, find a way.
Hmm.
But okay, I'm gonna try to lower my temper because I get mad about this. When a has a kid and then forgets who she had it with. Oh my God. I get so bent out of
Wow.
shape about this. And then they wonder why he bounces. It took this is talking about somebody, a couple that's together. It took two of you to make that. You don't dump him off because you now have a, because if you don't communicate with him, yes, you feel ugly after you have your baby or whatever. None of y'all will say a thing to the man. None. What the hell? He doesn't. Your husband or partner does not come second to your children. Y'all all are same priority.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do I get bent out of shape
I
about
am a complex person, perfectly capable of having two first priorities, really.
it? Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't go to the wayside just because you had a kid. What the hell? And that is 100% put into our brains by Western society.
Yeah.
Western society. That is a gender role construction that your child, that your man defaults to second, or I say man because I'm hetero, but whichever one, and that the child moves into place. That is the biggest load of I have ever heard in my life. And I get so passionate about it. Because if you're feeling ugly or fat or whatever after you have your baby, then go talk to him. Because unless he's a complete piece of, you're more miraculous to him after you push that thing out.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
So
do
don't,
I do have somewhat of a counter argument for you.
go ahead.
Not a huge one. Um, but I think that it also speaks to not effectively communicating how needs change, because whilst I whilst needs change, like instead of it being just the two people, those needs have to be redistributed as far as like even just like your regular everyday existence stuff,
Yeah.
but also needs change within that kind of relationship. I know that one of the things that really affected me when I first had my son is I did find having a new baby really draining. And so I had to communicate that, hey, I'm in a place where I need more emotional support. I need more emotional validation because I am just getting drained. This tiny little person is sucking the life force out of me.
But that's communication. So
Yeah, so I think that there is an element within that absolutely, like, two things can be on par, but you also have to understand that there is a shift. There is a
but
huge shift when that happens.
here's the thing though. So you're feeling drained or whatever. What you should follow up with, and if you don't like this, he can leave. So that means you still deserve to feel good when you're drained. So that's when he picks up and goes downtown to eat. So that so that you still feel good, which lifts up your entire mood, helps avoid the depression after childbirth, and then he can get his too. So yes, changing your needs, but that's when you go, I'm too tired, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
because let me tell you something, you can be tired as hell, but if he goes downtown to have a bite to eat, you're gonna wake up long enough.
You're gonna wake up a bit,
You
yeah.
know,
Hey y'all.
or I
Um,
have a headache.
I
Okay, go to
I
the
have
bathroom.
been live for 5 hours now. I got to go do dad stuff.
Oh,
This I've been
You
waiting
have
for
to
a
stop
lull,
for
but this
for
conversation
feed the
I already
dog.
did that.
Okay.
I've been waiting for a lull, but this conversation is never going to lull. It's been fascinating. I will upload this to YouTube as soon as it's
Oh
processed.
God,
That
I forgot that you
uh,
do that.
yeah, no. There's too much cool stuff said in this broadcast to let it just die when I hit the button. So it's got to go to YouTube, man.
Yeah.
But
cool.
um, maybe I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Okay. All
It's been
right.
All
fucking
right.
great. It's been
Well,
great.
thanks.
Thanks,
A lot of
Birch.
All
people the
right.
whole time. Everybody seems to have had a good time. We're at 60,000.1 likes up there. My God.
Right.
I don't know
Great.
if Jennifer wants to go live. Anybody who wants to go live can move to your place. Do you want to
Yeah.
go live,
Jump
Yeah,
over
Jennifer?
I'll
there.
go.
Continue the
Not the,
conversation. Maybe I'll listen.
but not the Witchfoot underscore incorporated. They take me down when they see my face, so I'm gonna go to Witchfoot dot incorporated.
All right. Do you want to
Okay.
A
go
couple
over there?
of
Yeah,
those.
we'll go over there.
Okay, you
Okay.
guys. Maybe
All
I'll
right,
jump
bye.
in and
Thanks,
listen.
Bert.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Blessed be.
Happy Miracle Birds. All right.